I'm drinking my local corner shop Shiraz, and it's very drinkable indeed.
Did I hear the word corn in there?
Put corn in there?
Did I hear the word corn? What is it called?
Corner shop. I mean, you can't spell corner shop without corn, to be fair. But there is no corn in my wine.
Oh man, corn and wine. I mean, that's it's like maybe not quite gross enough for your YouTube channel, right? Like for the types of combinations you're cooking up over there.
You could put frozen fruit in like cocktails, Pims, don't you?
Yeah, that's true.
Why not put corn in what?
Freezer. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
I just, I mean, if I had some corn on hand now, it'd be going in that wine. I'm kind of tempted to. I'm not comfortable.
Well, we are officially streaming now, so welcome to the Big Schmooze, everybody. We are back with our most popular guest, a very popular YouTuber, unlike us, Mr. Matt Rose.
Hi, pleasure to be back. Lovely to be back.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Will, he's been a big fan of your channel. He's the one who turned me on to it originally, and he's been very excited to have you back, although not excited enough to show up on time, apparently.
We should explain that Will is he's running late. Yes.
Yeah, I probably, I assume his tea kettle must have had a little crack in it. He had to try to come up with some kind of MacGyver contraption to plug the hole. That's what I assume he's up to now, anyway.
His tea kettle. That's absolutely adorable. Just kettle. Kettle's fine.
Well, yeah. So he's gotten so into tea. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt. I was just saying, well, he's gotten so
Will's face is going to pop in at some point. Will is just going to appear.
Yeah. Hopefully, he's gotten so into tea now that he tells us he wants to like start a little tea shop. He lives in Florida, so I don't know if people are into tea or not there. It seems like I don't know. He goes on all these European adventures and he comes back with these different types of tea and different desserts, and so he wants to bring some of that back here and start it off. And I think like that's perfect for him. I can totally see myself one day going into this strange little corner tea shop, and he's got this big beard, and he's just sort of like the odd little tea guy around the corner. I think that'll be good for him.
Kind of sounds like he's having a bit of breakdown.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Well, there's a fine line between like, has he lost it or has he found himself? Who knows?
Is it a break?
There's a fine line between any sort of, you can like something and then you can really like something and then you just like it too much.
Yeah. I mean, but if you think you make money off of it, then I think we'll stop judging. It's like it goes from like, man, you've really lost all sense of like a normal, sane person here. But hey, you're making a profit, so whatever. Who am I to judge?
I'll be very curious to see if that kicks off in Florida, right?
Yeah. Yep, Florida, where the water boils itself. It's so hot there. So we thought we'd do a little thing here because when we had you on last time, we sprung on you that it was going to be something we called a YouTube rescue. Oh. So you were our John Taffer, and you really whipped us into shape because we really needed some discipline, and we needed somebody who knew what he was doing to tell us how to make it work. So I want to start with a little clip that I think captures what it felt like, just so the listeners, they maybe haven't seen the first episode that you were in. So let me share my screen here, and I'm going to play. This is basically what happened. It's emotionally the truth of the last time Matt was on here. So let me get this going.
This place is a disaster, and the owner is the biggest disaster of all. Hey guys, listen! Does everybody know what Joe is?
Yes. Okay. So again, emotional truth. John is Matt, more or less, and then all these other people are Will and I, especially the owner. When he talks about the owner, that's just what it was like.
Okay.
All right, guys. Here's the deal. You guys come back in 3 days after I fix it, and then you tell me what you think. Okay? Shame on you.
John humiliated me in front of my customers. He called us a show. I would have never surrendered. John doesn't know what he's dealing with. You think I'm going to lay down and take it?
That's Will.
Yeah, 100% mistake.
Guys, I'd be less than honest if I didn't tell you I was disappointed, right?
All right, so that's about what I recall last time. You really had to lay down the law, and you did.
Well, that was, how long ago was that? That was about a year ago?
Yeah, roughly.
And how have you guys been getting on since?
Courtney, you want to take this one? How we been doing?
Good.
Said with some confidence.
Well, yeah, you know, a problem we have is we tend to get busy. We're not good about just doing the thing every week. So, Will, welcome.
Hello.
I just played
good to have you, Matt. Thanks for having me on the show, everybody. Pleasure to be here.
Will, I was
He's
just
got
talking.
tea!
Yeah. Okay, Will, tell us the tea story. We set it up already. What you were probably making a tea that took 45 minutes, right?
Yeah, this is embarrassing to admit, Matt, but I was late because I was making a tea, which you should empathize with, of all people, of course. But yeah, no, I was just making a tea, and I don't know if you're familiar with the traditional Chinese tea ceremony, Matt, but those can take up to 9, 11, 15 hours. It really depends on how much it depends on. It's a ceremony, and it depends on how much you value the guest. So if you think they're a piece of shit, you know, only take 2 hours to do it. So
almost a shame to drink it now, right?
Kind of, yeah, but I don't want it to go to waste. So
let's see the tea.
Yeah. Look at this. Look at this amber color. It's not my own. It's not mine own. It's not mine own. If that makes any sense, it is tea. So
yeah, it looks like you got a mug of piss. It looks like a mug of piss.
It does, but it doesn't taste like a mug of piss, and that's the important distinction.
So we were telling Matt that you want to be that sort of odd guy around the corner who has a little tea shop, and so like you go in and it's just sort of this wafting tea leaves from all over the world air that hits you and pushes your hair back, and then like you go into the back corner and you're there with like your big beard and long hair, ready to give some wisdom. Probably like you start off with a story like, oh yes, this one comes from the whatever region. Let me tell you about the history of the whole place, and really because that tells you what's in the soil, and the story of the soil is the story of the tea. Right.
Come here and sit on old Pep's lap here, young lad, and we'll teach you a lesson about the Queen's blend. All right.
I love this idea of let's just pop in and get a quick cup of tea, and you go. It can take between 9 and 15 hours.
You know, there's a lovely motel right across the street. I recommend getting a room for the night. It's going to be a long day.
We were just talking a couple of days ago about how, Will's at the point now where he's like, yep, I got to take Friday off. He's talking to his boss where he's like, yeah, I need Friday off. Oh, yeah, why? What are you going to do? Oh, in the morning, I'm going to make a cup of tea. Afternoon, I'm going to make another cup of tea. Maybe in the evening, have a dessert cup of tea.
Between those teas, I was thinking I might make a quiche. I don't know. My boss is like, sure, I'll take the whole week off.
That's what a good boss. And yet you're going to leave your company to start a tea shop.
Yeah, you know, it's a good role, but I don't feel fulfilled, so I gotta cut ties. Yeah.
So, as far as our show, we just talked a little bit about how it was YouTube Rescue a year ago, and Matt, really whipped us into shape. I know, Will, you cried several times for several nights.
Yeah.
We don't
need to. We can gloss over that. By the way, it's not
the amount of midnight calls I would get from Will. Just it's weeping and screaming.
Again, we don't need to. We gotta. For the sake of the show, we're losing our audience here, Tom. We gotta.
Okay.
That's a powerful combo. Good.
Yeah. So
you overlooked. You guys have only done like 10 videos.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that is true. Perhaps we should do more.
It's taking over your life.
We like to think of it more like Kubrick made like 10 movies.
Exactly.
So you got to 10 perfect ones, even if it takes 6 years between them.
We're about quality over quantity. We're that's sort of our direction.
Fair enough. Whereas I'm just churning them out.
And there's nothing wrong with being a content factory, Matt. There's nothing wrong with just keeping your ring light and your phone and just
you have your Kubrick on one side who makes a movie every 6 years. Then you have your Woody Allen who makes sometimes 2 movies a year. So Matt, that's what you aspire to. Go for it.
I'm like the Fast and the Furious franchise. You look away and I've made another one.
Well, but at the end of the day, when it's on TV, you're like, well, I'd probably watch that. Yeah. So.
I've never seen a Fast and the Furious film.
Oh, really? Like a single one?
No, never seen. Didn't they get a space in the last one?
I think so.
I think that's the Muppets. Or no, maybe that is the
Muppets
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, both the Muppets and Vin Diesel have gone to space in a movie.
They're both and they're both great films.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that in a movie.
So I thought, maybe we could look at one of Matt's early videos, because when you search Matt Rose, a lot does come up. And so I wanted to pick one that I think we're all happy with and we could look at and maybe dissect a little bit of the wisdom of this guy who's here, who gave us wisdom a year ago and is back yet again, even more successful, even as we maybe are not. So here, this one, Matt, let me see if you remember this one.
Yeah, cool.
You had a little different style at this point.
Yeah. What's this?
This is from Matt Rose, Cold Steel Fin Wolf Review.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
And today we are looking at a really unique knife that has a grind that I'm not very familiar with, but we're going to look at it anyway. We are looking at the Cold Steel Fin Wolf.
Nice, bloody good knife.
Yeah, you remember this one, Matt, when you made it?
Yeah, it's really sharp.
Hang on one second here. Tom. This is
Hang on, no, that's not.
Now
Oh,
wait.
That's not me. No.
It says, no, Matt, it's you. It says Matt Rose right there.
I was gonna say, if it's a transformation, Matt, like
I was so confused.
no, that's like
Looks like you. Sounds like you.
it does kind of sound like you a lot. So
A lot of these videos, and I want to
sort of like
continue doing that. So like and subscribe, and that would be much appreciated. Before we get into the review, I want to once again say thanks to my Facebook friends.
Smooth.
do you want to pause it really quick? Just a quick question for you, Matt. When you're doing the knife review, do you run out of content like 30 seconds in? You're probably like, wow, this is a sharp one.
Talk about knives. I could talk about knives all day. What do you
Really?
get about knives?
There's no stopping me.
You've got
butter knife.
Butter knife. Yeah.
Type.
yeah.
Steak knife.
Steak. Oh yeah, steak. A whole knife just for steak. That's cool.
Bread knife.
Cheese knife.
Bread knife.
Cheese
Yeah.
knife.
Tease knife.
Yeah. No. Look, I'm not gonna contest the naming knives with the knife expert Matt Rose here.
Of course.
Box cutter.
Oh,
Playing with fire here.
Well,
That's not me. That is another Matt Rose, of which there's a lot. There's a lot of Matt Roses around, more than you think.
you got to stop this guy because he's out there with your name.
Yeah. He's tarnishing
Really?
your name, Matt,
Yeah.
and we feel like you got to put a cease and desist to it. You know what I mean?
I'm sure he's on a podcast with other people, and they did that gag, and they're looking at me now. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We got him coming on next week. We're going to do the reverse of the gag we just did.
Yeah. Matt Rose Part 2.
Oh, no. But do it. I think you should genuinely do that.
Don't you hate this other Matt Rose doing all this hilarious commentary, just dragging your channel's value down? It's like you could be doing so much with the knives, and this guy's over here talking about Keanu Reeves or something. What the heck?
I know.
This guy's gonna think that we really care about the knives. Like, we'll invite him on, and he's gonna pick out his favorite two. He's gonna bring something that he could stab on camera.
These are not guests we really want on the show, if I'm being honest. Stabby guests or not.
That's a good point, though, Tom. There must be limited that you can say about knives. There must be.
Yeah.
How are there two different knives that both can cut? Compare and contrast these.
I can tell you're a professional. You're just.
I genuinely took me a moment to remember the word.
You're like, I talk about knives just so little that, in fact, I really don't know what to say about them at all, other than the name.
When I was picking the video for to share, I was looking at okay, what's the shortest one? And then some of them are like 35, 45 minutes long.
45.
Just be him talking about a knife. I got a pen here. That's my version of it.
Does he get distracted? He's like, let me tell you guys about my weekend. Actually, here about 15 minutes in, we weeded out all the losers. Let's start to talk about me. This is a me podcast. So then it's 20 minutes about his weekend, his leaky toilet, and then he goes back to the knife at the end. Yeah, that's got to be the approach. There's no other content.
I hope instead of him talking about his leaky toilet, he just like, all right, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And then he's gone for 30 minutes, then comes back and finishes it.
Comes back in ankle deep water, and he's like, "All right, guys. I don't know if you hear what's sloshing around, but that's what's been going on for 20 minutes."
Us Matt Roses are we're a funny old sort. So,
well, let me tell you.
I forgot about him.
Let me tell you this, Matt. You don't get a rose without some thorns. Am I right?
Very good. Very droll.
You probably never heard that one.
Well,
how's your pink down? You're drinking it. He's drinking it. To be fair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How's it going, Will? Does it taste good?
Not actual piss, guys. I was just joking.
What's the temperature on that? About 98 degrees?
98.5, Tom. Right in the nose.
A little coffee?
Yeah. Well, a little bit, yeah.
I can't help but notice we're almost 16 minutes in, and so far we've solely talked about knives and piss.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we don't need your help, Matt. Maybe we already got enough here. We got a gold mine of wealth here, so.
All right, let's get to the main event then. What you're all here for, which is we want to rank the top 10 Brits of all time.
Of all time.
Of all time.
The best ones.
The best.
Do you have the list and you want my help, or do you want me to come up with?
Well, I want a roundtable discussion. We each throw out our top 10 Brits. Not like in order. Like we'll just go one at a time. We'll come up with somebody. We'll kind of debate it. We'll see who makes the list and who doesn't. And then at the end, we have something definitive for history, much like the 10 Commandments.
It's tricky to come up with 10.
Well, 20. Yeah, well, we got some. You know, we're ready. Courtney, why don't you get us started? We'll do the top 10 Brits. So who makes your list and why?
Top 10 Britney Spears because free now.
Oh, she's a good Brit.
Britney Spears. She is a Brit, I guess. And she's free. She's free now, right?
Yep. She's
That sounds like
to be her, Britney Jean.
Wow. Okay. Well, congratulations to Britney.
Next person.
Where Courtney? Where would you put in the top 10? Top 10 Brits. Where does Britney Spears go?
Oh, she's number 1. That's why I said it first.
All right.
Oh, okay. We're starting with, so that's kind of an odd way to do it. Usually you can kind of do like a countdown. You go from 10 to 1. We're just starting number 1, Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Number 1 top Brit. All right, there you go, Matt. Number 1.
Well, that wasn't much of a debate. Why is Britney Spears so good? What's so good about Britney?
Are you going to say something bad about Britney Spears, Matt? Because I don't know, that poor woman has had quite a life. So if you want to go ahead,
You hate women, Matt? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, famous misogynist Matt Rose was on our show this morning, and he talked about how Britney Spears didn't suffer enough.
I hate women and I love knives.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. So why is Britney such a talented songstress?
So I would like to actually come back and debate this as she is number 1, so we can now work back from 10 to 1. Let's compare her to all the other Brits out there.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Tom, you go next.
All right. I think Dick Van Dyke, famous Brit.
Oh yeah.
Perhaps the most famous British songwriter. I mean, as far as Brit songs go, I don't know that anyone's singing more than Chim Chimney, Chim Chim Cheree, right? I'm going to put him at 8. I think he's solid, but he's maybe not quite cream of the crop. He's just one of those guys that you'll never get out of your head. I was watching an interview with the director of this new Mary Poppins movie, and he said that when they had Dick Van Dyke come in for a cameo, it made him cry because it was so exciting to have the man back in the space, doing the thing, dancing around. The guy's like 90, right? He's still dancing. I think he's married, like a 20-year-old, a young 90. This Dick Van Dyke.
I thought he was dead. Is he alive?
I thought he was dead too, if I'm being honest. It's amazing. He's still kicking.
He's still kicking. He's still kicking like 2 feet at the same time in the air as he does dances with cartoon penguins. This Dick Van Dyke.
Still kicking and clicking his heels at 90.
And can we just say for a second, Dick Van Dyke, the name. Dick Van Dyke. What a name, right?
Funny name. It is a funny name. A fair answer, Tom. But yeah, I think Britney Spears is pretty safe in terms of songwriting and performance. I think Britney would probably sell out more arenas on a tour than old DVD.
Depending on the decade, perhaps. If we go back to 1960, she's not alive. She's not selling a single ticket.
Well, that's a very interesting way to win an argument.
Well, if you put my argument in a time machine, it's completely different. I love that. I'm going to steal that, actually.
Incredible.
I'll tell you what.
Incredible answer.
Tell you what, if Hitler did have that time machine, you'd be sorry. And you'd probably be crying right now.
Yeah. Hitler was a better singer-songwriter than Britney Spears, because in the 40s, Britney wasn't even alive.
That's true. He was packing arenas in 1940. Tell you that much.
I tell you, I don't know where Hitler found the time to do those silly films where he still had the mustache. I was like, this guy's trying to take over the world, and he's over here making fun of himself.
Well, he's trying to show that he was, he had a.
He's humble.
He had a lighter side. He's like, you don't even.
Yeah.
The man behind the
Exactly. Is the art and the artist. Separating.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
all right.
Wacky.
Will, give us yours.
Oh man. Well, I gotta say, this is a Brit that's near and dear to all of us. I think that we all love we all love Britain, of course. Mr. Bean is mine. He's the best British of all time. Yeah. Number one British. Probably better than the Queen. And I don't know if I'm gonna get. I'm not gonna lose my head for this, but a little bit better than the Queen.
So you're putting Mr. Bean at number one, which means we have a battle for the throne. We got a real Game of Thrones situation here.
We got a Game of Thrones.
And to confirm, we're not talking about the actor Rowan Atkinson. We're talking about the mute.
He's in a different category coming up later here, Matt. Rowan Atkinson's the real man, so let's not, obviously.
I think we save a spot for Rowan and we put Mr. Bean on, frankly.
Bean, okay.
As an Englishman, Matt, what's your take on Mr. Bean? I don't know what his cultural legacy is like across the pond.
What is he like in the UK? Are people just like, oh, this guy? Or are they kind of like, oh, yeah, the old funny...
On my average day, I get through it without mentioning Mr. Bean. He's not... Obviously, everyone knows...
Really? Weird. Now, that is not what I expected from the United K. But,
everybody knows Mr. Bean, but I mean, it's if you watch it back now, it's quite horrifying. He's got a new show, hasn't he, where he has to try and kill a bee.
Yeah, Man versus Bee, the appropriately named.
Yeah. Man versus environment. We don't need any. We need more of that right now.
But, Mr. Bean is huge in Germany. Which is,
really? No way.
I love Mr. Bean in Germany.
Apparently, sorry.
It's very. I think they just like slapstick. I think because it's just
It was probably because of all those Hitler films where he was acting like such a dang goofball. Yeah. All those talkie films he did in the 30s.
Mr. Bean scratches that itch that Hitler left.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
That's a great sentence.
We're already going viral if we put that as the video title. Mr. Bean scratching an itch for the Germans that Hitler left.
All right, Matt, who do you want to nominate for our list here?
Who's a good one? A good one.
I've got a few. I'm probably going to say Louis Theroux.
Oh, okay.
You know Louis Theroux?
He's one of the cats from the Aristocats, yeah? No.
I loved his Scientology movie. It was very funny.
Yeah. So he's I think he encapsulates everything British. He's quite nosy but quite awkward at the same time. I think he's quite a nice guy. And
he's smart. He's able to make fun of people without them knowing that he's making fun of them, which feels very British.
Yeah. I prefer the older stuff he used to do because he's gone quite serious now, and he does a lot of films about heroin and dementia and stuff. But he used to be, can I learn to be destruction derby driver in a week and stuff like that. And he's got a bit boring since. But old school Louis Theroux with when he had his round glasses. Pucker.
All right, Louis Theroux. We'll throw him in. Oh, go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What are you ranking him?
Whoa!
Below Bean, above Bean.
He's above.
Let's chuck him in at 5.
5. All right, Louis Theroux at 5. So just for anyone who needs a reminder, we currently, if we do a countdown, number 8, Dick Van Dyke, number 5, Louis Theroux, I'm putting number 2, Mr. Bean for now, number 1, Britney Spears. But that's, like we said, that's a whole Game of Thrones, Westeros war. We gotta fight. We'll see what happens at the end of that one.
Mr. Bean's at 2.
Yeah,
you're right. He should be at 1. Okay, I'll fix that right.
Yeah, we'll fix it. Sorry about that, Matt.
The Germans will love this development. They're in.
Man. We already got so many German viewers from this. Thanks, Matt. We got
the top 2 Brits. Number 1 isn't British, and number 2 doesn't exist.
Yes. Okay. Well, we got some momentum building. Courtney, give us another one. Let's keep it going.
Okay. Let's say S Club 7. You guys?
Yeah.
S Club 7.
Yeah. Let's put him at number 7. Why not?
Okay.
I mean, arguably, so a couple things there. Arguably not one person. And a couple of them a bit racist. I don't know if you know this. They had a bit of a racist controversy when one of them went into Celebrity Big Brother and was very racist.
Yikes.
Oh.
No, we did not know that. So we probably should.
So then afterwards, so there's a few of them who were quite racist. And then, afterwards, most of them apologized, but she didn't. She went, no, I don't like them.
Wow. So she really doubled down on the racism. Yikes.
I'm gonna throw a curveball at us here, which is if we're talking about the top Brits who just embody Britain's legacy, I don't know that that's disqualifying. That's pretty British.
British people are very racist, yeah.
That's true.
I mean,
we have some in America here too, Matt. Pieces.
Yeah, I know, but we are bad here. I mean, we love. I mean, we if we land on a country we don't like, we just invade it.
Yeah, you did do that with a lot of them. It's actually kind of funny. My wife asked me a question one time. She's like, "How come you don't really care about British history?" And I was like, "Because all I have to do is learn about like the rest of the world." And I'm like, "Oh, yep, that's when they showed up." Oh, they showed up and they're like, "Hey, nice product you have here. May we take this from you and trade it for you for drugs?"
I saw S Club 3. There's only 3 of them now. I saw S Club 3 live, and there was something wrong with the speakers, and loads of people had blew out their eardrums.
Oh no!
My hearing was it didn't blow out my eardrums. It blew out my friend Maria's eardrums. My hearing was screwed for like 3 days.
Oh my gosh! From that
S Club just echoing. Oh hell! Yeah, chuck them in at number 7 if you want, Courtney.
All right. Yeah, I think number 7. Then actually to carry a little bit of a theme here, I think we should have an immigrant on here, right? Because we can't just have the usual nationals, the nationalists, the racists. Let's bring someone who really brought some culture to England. So I'm going to nominate Dracula. As you may recall.
Why?
He came over from Transylvania. Had a whole new sort of like style he was bringing, really big into capes. Not a big fan of garlic, which I think sometimes the Europeans, you gotta not use garlic and everything, And I think he really brought that to the forefront. He wasn't a big fan of Christianity. Really just a lot of the things that we're talking about, the problematic things that England brought all over the world. This guy came over and he said, I don't know about this stuff. It actually kind of hurts my skin. And I think he's really influential. I believe there's a lot of vampires now, at least whether we're talking culturally, literally, who knows the history. We don't learn history here in America, but I'm going to say Dracula is maybe number 10, right? Like he's not exactly who you think of when you think of the British, but I really think we need to have an immigrant. And I think he's maybe one of the most influential, one of the ones out there who really, really changed things, really rallied you know, the English people had to sort of rally to stop it because you know, Van Helsing, he was really disturbed by this guy, and so he really caused a stir.
This was sorry to interject here, Tom. This was a dark chapter in British history, right? You guys learned at least 2 or 3 days of Dracula in school as children, Matt.
Yeah. Bad days back in the Dracula, but
sort of like the Great Fire of London, Dracula, World War I. I was like, you guys never caught a break. You know what I mean? Rough times.
Unbelievably, though, I mean, Tom, I think you should work in sales because I was convinced by that spiel remarkably.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah. Well, look, then the next battle is, can I convince everyone to put Dracula at number 1 as the number 1 best Brit of all time?
I don't know if he's better than Bean. I don't know.
If competition here, S Club 7, Dick Van Dyke. Can Dracula take them all down? We'll see.
Can Dracula sing and do chimney sweep tricks? Doubtful.
Dracula be doing chimney, chim chiree on all the different parts of that chimney. You know, horizontal, every direction, upside down.
You have like the penguins from the cartoon penguins, like sort of moving him around. You know, sort of his arm is kind of falling off because it's a rotted corpse arm, and these penguins are kind of helping him put it back on his body. And yeah, this is.
I think even you know what you're talking about.
I don't. This tea is really strong, Matt.
We'll chuck Dracula in.
All right, Dracula number 10. Will, who's next?
J.K. Rowling. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Jane Goodall for sure for me.
Nice one.
Yeah, she's a real Brit. Empathy, I like that. You know, chimps. You know, you can't go wrong. Chimp empathy. Combination of the 2 best things right there.
We might say
chimpathy. Yeah. You know, like a woman who would devote her life to going into the depths of the wilderness to learn about chimp culture, chimp ethics, if you will, chimp society, chimp law, the chimp Supreme Court, all of the above. Anyways, she's devoting her life to this. It's a great thing. We know more about chimps now than we probably ever did, which is great.
What have we learned new about chimps?
That's a great question. I was really hoping nobody would fact check me on that, but
what chimps do that 5 years ago we'd have gone, no way, they don't do that, do they?
Well, they use a lot more tools than they did before.
What do they use?
You know, before it was like, oh, he's using a rock to knock open that coconut. Now it's like, wow, buddy's got DeWalt drill. He's got a trigger finger. He's, you know.
No, they don't. Well, what tools do they use, mate? Well, no. Well, what tools chimps use 5 years ago? We didn't know
the reverse composite bow saw. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Chimps are fine, right? They're great. I'd love a little chimp. But they're not. They don't use drills, and they don't practice the law.
You know, Matt, I would say I have to disagree with you there because I do think they're our closest ancestors, and if we have all that, it's only a matter of time for them. So,
are you thinking, Will,
politely,
like Jane Goodall,
disrespectfully disagree?
You think Jane Goodall just brought a bunch of chimps to like a hardware store? Is that your understanding of her accomplishment? Guys, go nuts.
No, my understanding is she brought them a bunch of Home Depot sponsored goods to the jungle, and she was just sort of like, "Here you go, Coco. Here's a DeWalt drill. Just don't, put that close to, Jimbo's head. You know what I mean?" Yeah. So she's just sort of teaching them. This one's that no, Coco. That is a flathead. We need the Phillips. Jimbo, don't play around the PVC pipe. That's not good for you.
Today we're going to build some IKEA chairs. Grab the tools.
I kind of wish Jane Goodall just did that.
Why does your voice go lower when you're doing an impression of her?
I guess,
no, Coco.
Go get those monkeys over there. It's like, I don't think Jane spoke like that.
Bill, where are we putting Jane Goodall? We got 3, 4, 6, and 9 still open.
My opinion, she's better than Bean, Tom. Bean.
Oh, she's number 1?
I want to say let's thing with Britney Spears.
Listen, Britney's had a hard life, but so has Jane. Through many of her own choices. Of course, living in the jungle was her own choice, so I can't really But
So where we putting her?
I got
maybe
right now.
maybe they could tie. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Jane
it's-
Goodall, Britney Spears, top British person of all time.
I think Britney could do what Jane does, and I don't think
Really?
Yeah, what? Yeah, of course.
You think Britney Spears could do what the great and powerful Jane Goodall did in a lifetime?
She does with chimps, or Jane Goodall does with what Britney does with people.
The tortured souls of the masses.
The real
Right.
question is, could Jane Goodall do for Mr. Bean what she did for chimps?
That is a good question. I'm still trying to figure that out in my head myself, but
Could she talk to
something there.
the Mr. Bean? Could she get the Mr. Bean? Like, could she get us to understand the culture of Mr. Bean? Could she give him a wrench and see what
like
he does with it?
we reverse engineer Mr. Bean to understand him through the chimp angle. Is that what the idea was? I don't know.
Jane Goodall's out there saying that the Mr. Bean's about to go extinct unless we change our ways.
Oh boy, Matt, what's wrong with our show? I don't know why people don't want to listen to this.
No, this is gold. This is gold. So, are you putting in the woman who gives drills to chimps above or below Mr. Bean that the Germans love because it reminds you of Charlie Chaplin that was their head?
Oh, it's a hard question. This is why we need.
I don't know. Those presumably go above the guys who are outed as racist for being pieces of shit.
Yeah.
I just put our draft as a comment in there. So someone will see an early draft, an unfilled.
Oh no.
This is unofficial, everybody. But yeah, okay. So let's do. We'll do Jane as number 1. We'll do 2, Mr. Bean for now.
Mhm.
3.
Where's gone?
She be
She's
2. All right. She can be 2. 2 is
It's
Brittany. 3 is Bean.
Yeah.
4, I think, is still open. 5 is Louis Theroux.
Oh, I have a good number 4.
Go on. Who's your good number 4?
Have you guys heard of this guy named Ringo? Ringo Starr.
Yeah,
It's like an
well,
old. You guys heard? So I'm
yeah,
thinking,
he's going to be big.
yeah, he's gonna be really huge someday. It's just a matter of people finding his work. But yeah, he's great. So we could throw him up there. I don't know what he's done, but
Are we at the point now where we're like, this guy's nice. I don't really know why.
Yeah.
Sure. Throw him a bone.
what was that old fat man who did a bunch of stuff and went like the Winston? He's number 8.
Yeah,
Number 8.
Winston Churchill and Ringo Starr. We're adding. Okay.
Where's
These are-
Winston?
I'm going to put Winston at 9, just above Dracula and just below Dick Van Dyke.
You know, it's kind of amazing that all the most famous, bestest Brits have all been alive in the past 100 years. This is kind of.
Yeah.
Have there been any good ones from before that, Matt? We're just curious.
Corny,
We
make
don't-
sure that you put Winston Churchill below S Club 7.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, he is where he belongs.
Yeah, I think he would have probably had very few problems with what S Club 7 was saying, sadly. And it's like, Winston.
Yeah. He used to drink a lot. Have you seen
Oh, yeah.
Winston Churchill's daily alcohol intake?
It's like Hunter S. Thompson. It's like starts breakfast with a glass of champagne and then a bottle. Okay. Nuts.
Where does he go from there? I want to know the schedule.
Yeah, I don't know beyond that.
I know, but it started with champagne and cigars, and then just got more mental throughout the day.
Cigars for breakfast. Yikes.
I know, and he's leading the country, and he won.
Yeah,
it worked.
that's the crazy part.
Maybe the real question is, why aren't we doing that?
Somebody, I think it was a Vice article, and somebody tried to match him drink for drink, and they couldn't do it for one day, and he did it every day.
And he lived to be like 93 too. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Look, you
What-
know, Rocky.
What were they putting in the water back then? You know what I mean?
Rocky needed to train, just like I'm sure anyone at Vice needs to train to live like Churchill. But look, let's not say you can't do it. You just got to work your way up there. You need a little training montage.
That's it. He's trying to run before he walks. To be fair, yeah. How many
exactly.
spots have we got on the old top 10 list?
Well, so assuming we're keeping Ringo Starr with really no justification at 4,
Yeah.
and Winston Churchill with some justification at 9, that leaves us with one open spot, number 6. Matt, you want to fill that one?
6.
Don't you dare say Jack the Ripper, because that's the only other famous British person we all know.
I'm gonna say my friend and yours, Mr. Idris Elba.
Oh yeah, that's a
You know
nice one.
Idris Elba,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the DJ.
the DJ and actor.
Oh, he's an actor.
Yeah, he's like a huge actor. Oh, really?
No,
Oh,
I'm just kidding. No, I just know that he DJs. It'd just be funnier if he was known as a DJ.
well, I like him.
Heard that he won Sexiest Man Alive one year. I don't get it, but
Yeah. What, sexiest man? Yeah, but who?
but like who
Can't ask everyone.
cares?
Yeah, you know, we got a lot of heartthrobs on this list. We got Idris Elba, we got Dick Van Dyke, we
Winston
got
Churchill.
Yeah.
These people are all chick magnets.
Jane.
Jane Goodall. Oh yeah, a young Jane Goodall. I know is one of Will's fantasies.
We don't need to go there for the show. We can continue on here. Anyways, we got 10 famous British people of all time.
All right, let's do like 2 or 3 honorable mentions, I think, and then we'll call it.
Sure.
An official one. We'll carve it into stone. Give it to Moses.
Give it to God.
It's a list of absolute lunacy, really. I mean, if you wrote that on a bit of paper and left it in a public toilet, you would not touch that bit of paper. You would think, no.
You'd see a lot of graffiti that says like utter tosh right next to it, and then you'd be like, oh my goodness.
Look, I wouldn't touch anything in a public toilet, so it could be the best piece of writing ever. So I'm not going to judge myself harshly on that one. If people won't touch it next to the toilet,
Courtney, what are you going to do with that list? Because it exists now.
Yes, I will leave it in a public restroom.
I think we got to send it to Boris before he's out, so that we can get some official announcement. Right?
Oh yeah,
he's going to want to see this.
Yeah, give it to me, and I'll post it to me, and I'll give it to him. I'll hand it to him.
We forgot to give condolences for Boris. He's is he dead or he just resigned?
Unfortunately, just resigned.
Okay, because there was an assassination yesterday, Matt, and I was had a busy day, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I hope it." Wires got crossed.
I was hoping that would be the case. So I was watching it live. I never watched live TV. I was saying, "Wouldn't that be great?" But no, we just hammered his way through it. Well, no. Absolute twat. What honourable mentions did you have in mind, Tom?
Well, so I just jotted down some lists. One I think who isn't as British as maybe you'd hope, but one who wishes he was British and might think of himself as kind of like an honorable Brit. Frasier.
Frasier, okay.
He's got that affectation that like some rich Americans have, where they like to kind of sound vaguely European. Like Gore Vidal had one too, where it's nobody really talks like this anywhere here, but I can tell what you're going for, which is you'd like to think you're European. So yeah, Frasier, he gets my vote for honorable mention.
So for honorable mention, is this people that aren't actually British, but we're going to give them this platform anyway? Is that right?
Look, we don't have a lot of real rules here, Matt. So I'm going to say whatever you're feeling.
The theme is Brits, and that's it.
Yeah, Brits.
Go on. So Courtney, who would your honorable mention be?
Oh, this one's a tough one, but I think right now I want to make a shout out to Brittany Griner.
Oh, okay.
How is Brittany G these days?
I think we're still
What's she up to?
Just having high hopes and a good attitude. I know not a whole lot about Brittany Griner, but I think that she fits with the Britney Spears and my S Club 7 theme. Maybe I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
He is a Brit. So
who's Brittany Griner?
She's a Brit.
She's a professional basketball player.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Nice.
Who is currently stuck in Russia.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
Still. So I think she needs to be on our list. Honorably.
Yeah, that'll pick her up. She'll be happy to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, we think this whole episode is a real vote of support for Zelensky. This is going to, I think, really move the dial in Ukraine. We're happy to be able to contribute in the way that we can here.
We don't have
Yeah.
any money for rockets to send over to Ukraine, but we have our voices, Matt. And we use those voices to say good luck to Ukraine and Godspeed.
More powerful than any rocket, arguably.
Yeah. Words are powerful, Matt. They have more power than any other thing in the world.
Not
Unless
literally, of course.
well, not literally, of course, at all. No, definitely not. No. Oh, no.
Most powerful things in the world, literally.
Well, of course, yeah. Metaphorically speaking, though, they are very powerful, and so we're sending all of our most powerful words straight over to the Ukraine.
You can shout at a building all day, won't budge. One rocket, you've absolutely smashed it.
Oh, or even I'll do you one better. You know, sort of rocket incoming directly towards me, and I'm screaming, "Hey, get out of here, pal!" You know, my words might not be the best. Yeah,
but I like that even in the face of oncoming death, you still called it pal. You know, I know about this rocket. I'm not going to call it.
That was actually some hard sarcasm there, Matt. I was trying to hurt the rocket's feelings. So it wouldn't kill me.
Okay, other honorable mentions. Will, Matt, you guys have any that come to mind?
I don't know, Monopoly guy.
Oh, that's a good one. Monopoly guy.
Got a name? Has he ever been? I'm going to look up what the Monopoly guy's name is.
Even if he has a name, I kind of like that he would be immortalized on this list just as Monopoly guy.
Guess what his name is. Let's see if he's
Moneybags Mc.
Yeah, like Chester
Money Man.
Oh, you're very close.
Chester McMoneyman.
Rich Uncle Pennybags.
Rich Uncle Pennybags.
Rich Uncle Penny. I've never heard that before. We didn't learn that in history either, Matt.
Nah.
Who knows? No one knows that. Everyone knows what he looks like, and no one knows his name.
But he's a famous American / Brit.
It's like I found out the name of the mustachioed Pringles guy recently.
Oh, you don't know what his name is?
No, I do know what his name is.
Oh, what is it?
His name is Julius.
Oh,
Julius.
Of course it is.
That's a good name for him, I think. He looks like a Julius.
Any relation to Orange Julius, or is it like a?
I don't think there's much law that's been put in place behind. I think they just want to sell crisps.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah. And the lore in these sort of like these little characters that help sell things, I think peaked with the baby Peanut.
Mr. Peanut.
Peanut. I don't know if you remember this. There's like a Super Bowl commercial with the girl for Mr. Peanut, and then they brought in baby Peanut, and I don't know what any of that was supposed to do. But just
I have no idea.
Yeah, big thumbs up.
They did like a state-sponsored funeral for Mr. Peanut, and it was like, why?
How he died?
I don't know. He just died of old age. It was like 120 or something.
wait, no,
they said.
There
Right?
was like one of the ads I think has his death. He like falls off a cliff or something. It was weirdly dramatic.
Why is it so fleshed out? It's like so much. There's so much backstory. It's like, well, actually, he didn't just fall off a cliff, Tom. He had a 4th stage carcinoma in his liver before that, and that had contributed to some of the brain fog that allowed him to fall off the cliff.
Oh my
so
god! It's all these like commercials with like Shaq in a hospital sitting next to Mr. Peanut's bed.
And then,
And then the meeting where they discussed all this. It must take an hour.
Don't go into the light, Mr. Peanut. It's Shaq talking to him.
And then the sexy Mrs. Eminem comes in, and it's like, oh no, what is going on here? You know, it's sort of a clash of worlds. Anyway,
here, let's watch the death of Mr. Peanut while we're on this, just so we know. So nobody a big peanut can get mad at us for being an actor.
For posterity's sake.
All right, here's a commercial.
I've never seen this before in my life, by the way.
Me either.
What the?
Okay, so we have the not evil Matt Walsh from Veep. Is I guess just a friend with Mr. Peanut. If you're listening, they swerved out of the road on a cliff because they didn't want to kill an armadillo, and now Mr. Peanut and his friends are all hanging from a branch that's about to snap off a cliff.
Yeah. For the audio listeners, the Peanut driving the van swerved so he didn't hit the armadillo.
Just
off a cliff.
The Peanut, which was driving a peanut-shaped van.
That's we forgot to include that. It was a nut-shaped van, which was
All right, let's see. I've no idea what's going to happen here.
It's an expensive custom job.
No, you let go.
Probably.
Hey, Mr. Peanut, no, you don't. Don't do it, Mr.
No!
So it's weirdly dramatic, right? Like it's this tragic music. I don't know exactly if I worked at the company and they're pitching this. I'm just like, yeah, we really need a tearjerker of an ad.
You know what? They say tears sell peanuts, and that's what we're going for here. Okay, we want to make the kids cry. We want to make the grandparents cry. We want to recreate the Lion King moment where the dad falls off the cliff, but we want Mr. Peanut to do that. Can we steal that? That was their meeting.
Is he going to split open? I mean, let's see the last 8 seconds.
Yeah, okay, here we go.
Presumably to get to the fruit of
He'll be all right.
the fruit of the nuts.
Oh,
He explodes.
1916 to 2020.
Wow. Mr. Peanut death.
That's it. Yeah. So
Wow.
okay.
They couldn't have just had him retire or something. They had to kill him off.
Well, also, I mean, obviously, they had to be quite dramatic. I love you originally thought he just died of old age.
Yeah.
He was just going to give in a bed surrounded by his family.
Surrounded by the young Peanut, and he's like, "You're the heir. You're the next in line for the legacy." And that's how I would expect, But him going off side of a cliff, sacrificing himself for his friends, and then exploding.
That was wonderful.
Wow.
Just in case there's ever a Veep sequel, now Matt Walsh can be in it, just because his friend Mr. Peanut decided to let himself die. The branch didn't break. But okay,
if Michael Bay's looking for any new movies to direct, I mean, Mr. Peanut, we could jazz up those explosions a little bit and remake the Mr. Peanut death movie, turn it into an hour and a half.
Oh.
Michael Bay, if you listen to our podcast,
I'll do you one better, Will. 127 hours, but it's Mr. Peanut stuck in a little.
Oh, he has to chew through his arm. I love it. It's peanut brittle. He's like, I can't do this. I can't do it.
Imagine watching a peanut drinking its own urine.
Not much of a stretch for Will. We've watched a lot of that kind of content here, just not with a peanut.
Right, before I shoot off, let's just quickly rattle through this list. I want to hear all 10 and the honourable mentions, please.
All right. Well, Will, I don't think you got an honourable mention. Do you want to throw one on, and then we'll call it a whole list?
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Okay. Enough said. Harry Potter. Okay, so honourable mentions: Frasier, Brittany Griner, Rich Uncle Pennybags, and Harry Potter. You almost made it, everybody. You can feel consoled that we were debated. We did think about you. Granted, we thought about you after we finished the rest of the list, but we did think about you, in general. So
we didn't add Mr. Peanut to that list, right? He was separate.
I don't know if he's
British.
Look, he's not British enough. Well, we got some standards.
There's a small degree of Britishness that needs to be met in order for the list to be.
I'd let you get away with a lot in this list, but I'm not having a fictional American dead 104-year-old peanut man joining the top 10 British people's list.
I will not have him disgrace the Queen's country.
All right, official top 10, starting with number 10, Dracula.
Save us all.
Number 9, Winston Churchill. Number 8, Dick Van Dyke. Number 7, S Club 7. Number 6, Idris Elba. Number 5, Louis Theroux. Number 4, Ringo Starr. Number 3, Mr. Bean. Number 2, Britney Spears. And number 1, Jane Goodall.
She got number 1 in the end.
What's the problem, Matt? Calm down.
Look, if it's a Game of Thrones ending, we got to make sure it's bad and nobody's happy. All right.
Yeah, the ending has to suck, Matt. Otherwise, it won't be Game of Thrones like enough. Okay.
Who was number 2? Mr. Bean. No, Britney Spears. Right.
Britney Spears was number 2.
Matt, you're on our show. It's all rigged. Just accept it.
Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed talking to you all massively, but what a massive waste of time that was.
Hopefully you had fun.
Of course I did. Right, well, I need to shoot off, but a delight talking to you as ever.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Courtney, a pleasure meeting you, and the best of luck. I mean, if you keep on with this content, sky's the bloody limit. Sky's the bloody limit.
That's good to hear. So we'll check back in with you maybe in another year. We'll see how that prediction goes.
We'll see where we are then. What are your top 10 Americans? What are your top 10 Americans?
Oh, yeah. That sounds great.
Great idea.
Thanks.
All right, Matt. Thanks.
Right.
Thanks so much for being here. Have a good day.
Pleasure. Cheerio, lads. And Courtney, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Ahoy.
All right. Wow.
What a legend.
What a legend. What a great man.
And what a
We should have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Courtney.
what a list, you guys.
I know.
What
I was
is
going to
this?
say we should have put that legend on the list. You know what I mean? What a
Matt
compliment.
Rose.
Top 10
Yeah.
Brits. He's in there.
11, and Matt Rose.
Number
can be
11. Or when we do top 10 Americans, he's just like number 3, kind of inexplicably because we like him.
Why am I number 3? You're American to us, Matt. We
Yeah,
consider that.
Complaining about being a number 3 American of all time, Matt?
You're up there with George Washington and Jesus. If you're Mormon.
Let's do the top 10 Americans in a year. I think that'll be fun. Something for the listeners to look forward to. Anyway,
actually, I can't wait to do this because I'm definitely going to pick Jesus because if you're Mormon, you believe Jesus was American. So I'm not Mormon, but I'm just saying.
I think before we go, I got one last thing I want to look at, which is the Mr. Peanut funeral. I feel like we gotta see this to the bitter end. Just see how that whole saga turned out.
I didn't realize it was such a violent end for Mr. Peanut. This is such an unexpected turn.
All right, so here's the funeral for Mr. Peanut, which played at the Super Bowl in 2020. Again, why any of this, I'm not exactly sure, but here we go.
Mr. Peanut, he spent his life bringing people together. I know he.
So we have Mr. Clean. We got the Kool-Aid guy. I'm surprised Uncle Pennybags or whatever isn't around.
Yeah.
Me too.
Be happy that we are all together now.
Matt Walsh was there again.
What is happening?
This is a boon for Matt Walsh's career.
So a raindrop fell onto the apparently they didn't have him in a casket, right? They just put a pile of dirt on Mr. Peanut's corpse, and a raindrop fell onto it, and now baby Peanut has grown from the much like the phoenix. A baby Peanut has come up from the ashes. The biodegraded corpse of his father or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's a reincarnation situation. Who can say?
I think it's either a raindrop or Kool-Aid Man's tears.
Oh, what did I maybe I missed that? Let's watch that again. Let's be sure. Because he is crying and he's standing right above the dirt mound. So the Kool-Aid Man's got a little fountain of youth situation going on in here. Apparently, who knows what if we spill his insides all over, what's going to come out?
Why do you think Mr. Clean's giving him such a big hug? That guy's probably 1,000. He's just hanging on to Kool-Aid Man for life force.
All right, let's watch this again here. Yeah, you're right, Courtney.
Wow.
What is happening?
It's like a compost funeral.
Is that a baby nut?
Just kidding. I'm back.
Okay, so I'm going to try to explain that to you, although I can't explain what it means. The Matt Walsh just picked up the baby Peanut, which talked like a dolphin for a little bit, and then apparently has the voice of the original Mr. Peanut and says, "I'm back." I don't know. I'll leave you guys to explain what to do with that information, but that's what I just saw. All right, let's watch the end of it here.
Where's my monocle?
Yep.
This has got to be the weirdest marketing thing. Like it's just so funny to think of like a meeting group and they're like, "All right, Super Bowl ideas. This is our biggest time of the year. We're definitely capitalizing on this the most. What should we do?" Somebody's like, "What if we just kill off our mascot and reincarnate him?"
Well, and and like,
do we need to?
Okay, so we'll have like his celebrity friends all around him. Oh yeah, we'll have Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh.
What was he in again?
No,
he was from V. Oh, was he the like whiny guy with the dark hair? No, he was the whiny guy with the red hair that was bald, sort of.
The speechwriter who kind of isn't in it that much, really.
He's sort of in it, but only to cash some paychecks occasionally.
Oh, Kool-Aid guy being there.
Kool-Aid guy, yeah. Okay, so we'll have like a bunch of like Tony the Tiger. Well, if Count Chocula.
Well, we don't have IP rights to any of those. No, we can't. We can't do it like a fully. What do you think? We can just do the entire Disney extended universe at the funeral? No, of course not.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the Kool-Aid Man and Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean being there is so random.
I know.
He's not like a food product.
It makes me feel like Mr. Peanut was not well remembered, which then sort of makes me sad.
And there was not a well-attended funeral.
It was not. There was only like 15 people there.
Yeah. So
one of them was being paid to say the words to be there.
That's
so
true. Well,
yeah.
So, Mr. Peanut, there we go. That's a quick reminder for everybody. Otherwise, we did it. Top 10 Brits of all time. I think it's a good list. Matt hopefully had some fun. So stay tuned, subscribe. In 1 year, we will do the top 10 Americans of all time. And I guess every year we can just do a top 10, like what we get to what country do we go to next? The Frenchmen and women. Top 10 Frenches.
Top 10. Top 10 fries. Top 10 Dutch.
Yeah, that'll be like a lot of clicks, I think. From
that'll
the top
be riveting stuff. I'm sure Matt will be like, "Oh yeah, the top 10 Dutch. This is great." I think we wasted an entire hour of his day, and I hope we waste everyone else who listens to this time as well. But if you laughed, then you still owe us, because it's not a waste.
Owe us a click or two, some subscription, a like, whatever. Share it if you think this was funny. Otherwise, I think that's about all we got. So we'll be back soon with more Big Schmooze. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, guys. List in a public restroom.
Yeah, post it.